Good morning. Myself, Adira S., working as an assistant professor, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology, IT department. Here we are going to look on the topic programming using C. And the content of this slide is that introduction, structure of C program, header files in C program and data types, operators, control structure, conditional statements, and looping statements. Introduction to C. C is a high level, general purpose, structured programming language, and it is closely related to algebraic expressions, and also it consists of several common English keywords like if, else, for, do, and while, which is used as conditional statement and looping statements, which we are going to look after few slides. And C is a structured programming language, which means it just gives some proper structure to write a program in C language. And it also supports some functions that can break into smaller modules for easy maintainability. That is, we can divide the functions into separate smaller modules and we can run that separate smaller module in the compiler, and also we can get outputs separates or results for that smaller module separately, and we can combine that into one single output. The the methodology is termed as divide and conquer technique. And the structure of C program, we already know that C is a structured programming language. So we can divide the structure of C program into 6 parts, which makes to read, modify, and to document and to understand the C code easily. And sections of C program are documentation section, preprocessor section, and definition section, global declaration, main function, and user defined functions. And the structure of C program with an example is given here. First is documentation section, which means we can enter or we can specify the name of the file that you are write your code, and also the name of the author, that is you are going to write the program, so you are the author, so you can mention your name too. And also a description, which is referred to the actual process that you are going to done in this program. That is, here I'm going to find the sum of few numbers using a function. So documentation part, which is a comment, which is not taken by the compiler as a code, so it is a command line. And next one is link section, that is it include some header files to provide some functions to the program. Okay, so here we are using standard input output header file that is mentioned as stdio.h. .h is an extension for the header file, and stdio means standard input output, which is used here for providing the program with printf and scanf option to give the input and get the output. Then next thing is definition part. Here we are defining some variable with some value, which means the variable which we are defined here, whenever you used in anywhere of this program, its value is 20 here. Here I'm defining x with value 20. So whenever you are going to use this x variable in any part of the program, it will take it as 20. Next one is global declaration. Here I'm declaring a function sum with parameter y, and the sum function is in a data type of integer. And next one is main function, which is used to define the actual processing of the function or program. And in main function, I'm declaring a variable y with the value 55, and I'm using a printf function to print the output sum is equal to %d, That is, percentage d is the format specifier used to represent the data type integer. And sum of y is, here I'm calling the function sum of y, and I'm returning 0. Whenever we are declaring a main function with integer data type, it definitely it will return some value. Either it should be a value, or it should be a what? It should be a expression, or it should be 0, or it should be 1, depending upon the data type you are going to use in main function. If you are defining void main, then it there is no need to return any value, because void means null, so definitely it is not going to return any value. And next, we are just having a sub program, that is the process that we are going to specify in the function sum. So the process is y plus x. We are going to add the value of y with the value of x. So first in here we are just using sum int y, which is the function declaration, and here it is function initialization. We are just initializing the function with some value or some process. And this is how a basic program in C program is looks like. It is somewhat complex. Why? Because I'm here using a function, right? It is not a basic program. It something we are just using a function. Basic program is like, if you are adding some value, I'm just using hash include studio.h, and I'm just going with the main function int main, and I'm just opening a bracket and braces, and then I'm just declaring two variables, int y is equal to 55 and int x is equal to 20, and I'm just going to print the value as printf sum is equal to percentage d comma x plus y, and I'm going to return some zero value. Then definitely it will show the output as x plus y, whatever value you are given to that variables. Okay. And in C program there should be some of the header files which is used to get some of the predefined functions in C, and header files contain a predefined standard library functions which is used to get input and to give output, and also some to get some operations, mathematical operations, so on. And for using this header file we need to use pre-processing directive, that is hash include, and it also extended with .h extension, that is, I'm just given few examples. Stdio.h, standard input output header file, which is giving as input output function, and also conio.h, that is console input output function, and stdlib.h, that is standard library header file, which gives general utility functions, and math.h, which provides mathematic functions, and string.h, which is used in C program to done some string functions like string copy, to find the string length, etc. And I'm mentioning some of the keywords like printf and scanf. Output statement is printf and input statement is scanf. And next part is the data types used in C. Data types in C is classified into three types: primary, derived, and user defined data types. Primary data types are int, char, float, and double. Int means the integer data types, and char means which is used to define some characters or alphabets. Floating point means it is the decimal value which is different from integer. And double is also used to represent the floating value. And derived data types are array, pointers, and functions. Array is a storage structure, and pointer is a way to point the address of some values, some memory space, in some memory space. And functions we already define, or we already seen in some example, in one of the example in previous slide. Function is also a basic building block of C program, and which we can implement a huge process into separate modules. And user defined function is structure, union, and enumeration. These three are also a storage space which we can use for huge programs or huge problems to define using this user defined data types. And these are the explanation for primary data type. We already mentioned primary data types like int, char, float, and double. Int data type is used to store integer values, which include the numbers fall from minus infinity to plus infinity. The syntax is int variable and int variable name. And the format specifier used is percentage %d. Character data types is used to store characters, and the syntax is used for character data type is char, a variable name. Example, char x or char y is an example for the usage of character data type. And the format specifier used is percentage %c. And next one is float data type. Already I have explained that the float data type is used to store decimal values or floating point values, fractional part, which have numbers that have a fractional part. And the syntax is float variable name, and format specifier used is percentage %f. And the last primary data type is double, and it is also used to store floating point numbers. And the syntax for floating point number is the syntax for double is double variable name, that is double x, double y, double a, or double var. So whatever variable name you can given to the program you can use here. And format specifier used is percentage %1f. This is the difference between the float data type and double data type. Next one is operators in C program. Whatever process you want to done in your program, you need to use some of the operators. So in any programming language there are so many operators available. In C program we have increment and decrement operator. The symbols used to represent increment and decrement operator is plus plus and minus minus. And arithmetic operator is plus, minus, star, division, and modulus operator, which is used to perform some mathematical operations. Logical operator, double Anderson symbol and double bar symbol and not symbol, which is used to represent some binary operations. And relational operators are used for find or to show the relationship between few variables of or few expressions, etc., like less than or equal to, greater than or equal to not equal to, etc. Bitwise operator is also used to represent some binary operations, or not, XOR, like that. And assignment operator means we are just going to include or we are going to assign some values to some variables. We go with assignment operator, equal to, plus equal to, minus equal to, star equal to, etc. And ternary or conditional operator is a special operator which is used as conditional variables, like if we need to check something has happened, if it is true, then we need to go with some operations, or if it is not done or if it is false, then we need to go with another condition. So we just using this ternary operator or conditional operator. Next one is control structure in C program. Control structure is converted or classified into two parts, branching and looping. First one, branching, is also subdivided into conditional and unconditional branching. Conditional branching is if, ternary, and switch. In if, there is few divisions like simple if else, nested if else, if ladder. And ternary we already seen there. And switch mainly have to change one case to another case. We are just using switch conditional. And unconditional branching, we have go to, continue, and break. And for looping we have while loop, do while and for loop. Okay, while means it just add or it just run the code until the condition become true, and for is used to run the code until the condition become false. This is the conditional statement. Here we have if else and switch. If else, also we have four divisions like if else, if else if, and nested if. If means if condition is true, then we need to run some particular code. If else means if the condition is true, we need to run some particular code, and if the condition is false, then it runs another set of code. And if else if, that is if we have more than one two conditions or one or more condition, we will use if else if. And nested if is nothing that we can include number of if else inside another if else statement, that is nested if. And switch statement is if we have few or more and more cases to go through with, then we use switch conditional statement. And we already know that loops we have two types of loops, or loops is classified into two types: entry control loop and exit control loop. Entry control loop is for and while. For loop have a syntax for, in parenthesis you need to put initialization. That is, if I'm using some variable I, then initialization means if I'm just assigning some value to I is equal to 0. And condition, I less than n or I less than 5, something, some condition, less than or greater than some condition. And updation, what is the process if in I less than 5, what I need to do is that updation. If I'm going to increment I value, then I plus plus. Or if I need to decrement the I value, then I just going to do I minus minus. Another entry control loop is while. While means if I less than 10, I need to put, or I need to print something that I is or less than 10 value. Or if I greater than 15, I need to print, if it that is true, then it prints I the value of I is greater than 15. Some condition, it just run until the given condition is false. And exit control loop, that is do while. It just do some process, and after that it just check the condition. Thank you. This is what about the basic idea of C programming. Hope you are all understand. Thank you so much.